Welcome to Well Read, a program about a little bit of this and a little bit of that at your Ames Public Library. Hi, I'm Jerri Heid, Youth Services Manager at the Ames Public Library, and I'm here today to conclude our 6-part series on what happens here at the library. Only the what happening was early literacy skills, and now we're going to jump way up there to our teens, which at the Ames Public Library we consider 6th through 12th grade. And with me today is our teen librarian, Tom Vee. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Tom Vee, could you maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and where you came from and why you're here?
So my name is Tanvi. I'm the teen librarian here, and I am originally from New Jersey. So I didn't grow up in Iowa. I didn't grow up in the Midwest. I had never been to the Midwest until I came here for this job. So my undergraduate degree is in sociology, and I have a master's in library science. And I was working as a librarian in New Jersey. I was youth services, so I worked with toddlers through teenagers, and it was there that I realized that I really particularly liked working with teenagers. And I saw this position open up here for a teen person, and so I'd been looking for a while, and I saw positions all over the place. And as soon as I saw this one, I was like, that's the one. That's the one I'm going to get. That's the one I'm going to move for.
Just intuitively, or you just loved Iowa that much?
Well, I'd never been to Iowa, so...
You needed that excursion or that investigating at the Midwest.
That's a little adventure, yeah.
So then after the interview, we did like a phone interview, and then you knew it too?
I don't know. I felt it the whole time. Like I knew as soon as I saw the posting that I was going to come here, and I felt it throughout the interview process.
Awesome.
And I don't know if you remember, but when you called, I immediately said, yes, I'm coming.
Yeah, well, I remember calling and you being excited because I was also excited. And yes, we've been very excited about having you here, as is our teens, or as our teens. But when you got here, was a little bit kind of a trying time, wasn't it?
It was a little chaotic. Yeah.
So you came here the day that we moved out of the building to our temporary location. And you got to meet our teen advisory group. And so that teen advisory group had already been going on for a little while, but tell us about what you've done with the teen advisory group and what it is.
So the Teen Advisory Group, which we're really lucky to have here because not all libraries have one, is like a volunteer organization. It's actually part of our Friends Foundation. The Friends group raises money for the library. They do fundraising. And our Teen Advisory Group is an extension of that. So it's kids in grades 6 through 12 who meet twice a month here at the library, and they plan programs, but they also organize fundraisers as part of their mission as an organization that's part of the Friends Foundation. So when I first came here, I think they were mostly doing bake sales and things like that to raise money, which was awesome. That's really great. But working with them, we have sort of moved away from the bake sales. They weren't super into it. They didn't feel very passionately about it.
It got them exposure.
Yeah, it did, and it was fine. But now what they do is they actually spend a chunk of the year organizing one giant fundraiser that raises a little bit more money than the bake sales did.
A little bit, a lot more money.
So the past 4 years, I think they've done a 5K. The first year that we did it, none of us had any planning experience. We didn't realize what a giant undertaking it was, but we pulled it off, and it was amazing. And now all of the kids who initially worked in the 5K have all graduated. They've all left, and my new group has decided that they want to try something new. And so this year we'll be doing like a murder mystery dinner theater.
And who's this open to then? Or when this comes out, approximately what time, and who is invited to this?
So we're aiming for fall, maybe like late fall, and it's open to anyone. So you have to register because it is a fundraiser. You have to pay a fee for it, but anyone that wants to come can come to it.
So where does this money go then that they raise?
So the money, it's sort of tags money within the Friends Foundation. It stays with them, so they can decide if they want to host a program that costs a little bit of money, if they want to purchase something for the library. So in the past, we've purchased the Nintendo Wii U and Nintendo Switch and all of the games that we have in the teen space.
Which are very, very well used
Yes.
every day,
Every single day.
that
Yes.
we're open.
Yeah.
So.
The annual Yule Ball that we host, so that's a tag developed program. So they pay for the DJ that comes, they pay for all of the food, all of the prizes.
And that's for the whole lot. That's
it's for
not
everyone.
just for teens.
Yep.
There's an open part
Yep.
for all families, and then there's a teen portion.
Yeah, and it's become a massive program.
Hundreds of people come to that.
Many hundreds of people come to it, and that's all funded and organized by the Teen Advisory Group.
And I have to say, I'm going to make a point here that the Teen Advisory Group does a fantastic job. They're very well organized and very well thoughtful of what they are offering. And I think a lot of that has to do with their leadership, which comes from you as their teen librarian and significant adult in their lives, out of school and out of family. So how do you develop these relationships? Because it's not just the Teen Advisory Group that
Right.
you are serving or you're hoping, or you're hosting and having them help. There's a grand variety of teens that come into
Yep.
the teen space, and every afternoon and weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about how you man or take care of the teen space.
Yeah, so the teen space is open every day after school, again, for grades 6 through 12. I'm not always the person in here, but I'm typically the person who staffs the room. And I think it's a really valuable space, both in the library and just in the community in general, because it's sort of, in the library world, it's sort of known as like a third space. So kids typically spend most of their time either at home or at school, and those are the first two spaces in their lives, which is great, and those are really important spaces. But when they come here to the library, they get to be in a space where they don't really have an authority figure. So they have someone who's sort of like a mentor, but it's not a parent or a teacher who's like watching over them and telling them what to do. It's a safe space where they can basically do whatever they want under supervision. So I'm always watching and I'm always listening, even if it looks like I'm not, to make sure that people are being appropriate, that they're not saying hurtful things or doing hurtful things, but they can relax. They can do homework if they want, but they don't have to. I'm always here to help them if they want it, but I'm not going to go after them and check up on them to see what they're doing. And it's a place where they can be with each other, that's separate from the adults in their lives and separate from their younger siblings in their lives. And it's a good, safe space where they can hang out for hours if they want, without having to worry about buying anything, without having to worry about whether they're going to be kicked out for lingering too long. I mean, we want them to linger in here. Right. We want them to be in here.
Yeah. So, and you use the word safe. Mm-hmm. I think that's a really important. When I would describe the teen space, it is a safe space, but I also know the other word I would use is relationships. Mm-hmm. So, in that relationship that you develop with them as teens, as the target audience for this room, but also they're safe with each other. Yeah. I believe, mm-hmm. when I've been in here, and so to see some of that dance happening, mm-hmm. of going from group to group, and they may or may not know each other in school, but mm-hmm. they know each other here, and they share the we. Sometimes there's like issues with that, without like but we also hold them accountable, and I think that's another. Not as important as the safe and the relationship building, but holding them accountable too. Yeah. It isn't just a zoo in here. No,
it may look like it sometimes.
Well, and it's a little higher level noise, and but so is the whole children's department. So I mean, it isn't. Abnormal for that to happen,
and they know that. So like it's my job to staff this area, but I always make sure that I have set aside whatever other responsibilities I have in my day to make sure that I am just available for them. Right. So if they want to talk about, issues that they're having at school or, whatever's going on in their lives. I'm just here just to listen.
Right. Well, and even national news and area news.
Whatever.
There's a lot of stuff going on that just be able to have a place to talk about that out loud and not be judged by anyone and not be graded and not be scolded or however.
And to talk about with their peers, knowing that it's a moderated conversation. So like they can talk about whatever they want freely with each other, but if it becomes overly heated or if they start resorting to saying really hateful things to each other, I step in immediately.
Right. And I've seen you also join in the conversation just to challenge them in like thinking beyond what their thoughts are, which all of them are very important things to have do. So I consider that your primary job is this teen space and building and having those relationships. But I think there's other things that you have to do.
A couple of things,
So one of those is being the collection. So tell us about how you choose the books for the shelves and the different materials that we have.
So I am the collection manager for all of our young adult materials and then all of our juvenile nonfiction materials. And it's a process. It's so much fun. So a lot of it entails just reading reviews and knowing what's coming out, knowing what's popular among the audience that you're purchasing these collections for, knowing what people want. It's knowing who your community is. So, something that is hugely popular in rural Oklahoma or really popular in Queens, New York may not be what kids here want. But then it's also knowing what maybe your community needs.
I was going to say pushing the limit a little bit.
Exactly, yeah. So it's really striking a balance between what do people want and how do you make sure that you're also providing just a really diverse, healthy collection that challenges people, that enables them to read beyond what they know.
So I think it's also safe to say that we are, we do that with our programming as well, that we offer the fun things like the Yule Ball and, the trendy type of stuff, but we also offer other substantive programming, like I would say partnering with Pride Fest and partnering with our drag shows and that type of thing. So can you kind of give us a little bit of philosophical reasons why that's important in our community?
Yeah.
True reasons. Not just philosophical.
So there's a common saying in the library world. It's like a principle of librarianship, and it's every patron their book. And I've sort of extended that to every patron their program too. So we have all of these amazing programs that we offer at the library, but we sometimes forget that we have these like underserved, underrepresented, marginalized groups of people in the community that aren't used to seeing themselves and their own interests and their own needs reflected in programming. We have a lot of LGBTQ kids here in Ames and adults and families in general. And several years ago, I had a kid in particular that I'm thinking of who was sort of going through the process of coming out to me and coming out to all the people they knew. And I could see that they didn't have a lot of community. It wasn't that they didn't have community support, but there wasn't a lot of places to see themselves reflected in the community. And so I started offering kind of smaller programs. And then I realized that there were more and more kids, a lot of kids like that one kid. And a lot of programs for LGBTQ people were focusing just on education, but they wanted something fun. And so then RuPaul's Drag Show became very, very popular, and kids started talking about drag, and they were really excited about it. But there was no place in the community for kids who are minors, for kids who are young. And so it was like this is what they want. This is what they need. They want something fun. They want to see themselves reflected.
It's all that mirror and windows and sliding door.
They want to be able to introduce something that's important to them to other people. And it's important for people who don't see things like this typically to be able to come and be like, this is fun and this is normal. And there's nothing strange about it. There's nothing dangerous about it. And I think I think we're kind of achieving that with our programs here. I know I've spoken to people who are like, I've never done anything like this before, and it is amazing.
And I have to say, it's not just teens that are here. It's all ages.
It's
we
all
just
ages, yeah.
had one recently, and I know there were dozens of families here that were here to be a part of it and to support who were here.
Yeah. So there were infants, there were toddlers, there were grandparents. Yeah, it was the whole gamut.
It was a great evening. Lots of people, I know when they were leaving, because that's kind of my job when people leave, to make sure that they get in the cars that they're supposed to be in, the safety person, and just listening to all the positive responses and, when is the next one, and thanking us for offering something like this.
So cool for our kids to see that they are supported in their community.
It's part of that relationship building again, and providing that safe space.
And it's cool too, because a lot of our kids don't realize that this isn't maybe super normal to have a space like this in their community, because for them it is normal,
right? And
it should be normal everywhere,
right? I would agree. Well, I know we've talked about programming and collections and seeing ourselves in the mirror and seeing someone else through the window, how someone else is living their life, and then that sliding glass where it kind of gets all mixed up together, which is the normal part, I think. But there are some more things that you do, like, I think you're out on the youth desk part of the time too.
Yeah.
So you're kind of just a versatile person that is the whole range. And then, of course, the J nonfiction is for all ages too. So how do you think that mixes with your teen position and your teen job? I mean,
it's cool because I get to see kids when they're younger, and like eventually, hopefully, they'll grow up into teenagers and then come in here. So it's nice to be able to start forming a little bit of a relationship when they're younger. But it's like a whole different world.
It
working on the youth desk than it is working in here.
Well, and I think it's also good for our teens to see you out on that part of the youth area too. Because I know when I'm working in here, they like, why is Tanvi out here and you're in here, out there and you're in here? Why does she? So I know I've had a lot of conversations, as I'm sure you have as well. So it's that versatility is good, and it always pulls us back to reality, right? of how much we appreciate what we have, or what we don't have, maybe too. So it's all part of what youth services is all about, and it's all part of what your Ames Public Library is about in the community as well. So reflecting what is in our community, as well as pushing that limit and or pushing the need out there, or providing that experiences for people that are not necessarily seeing it in their community, but it's here. And we really need to support it by coming in. We have a lot of family-friendly programs as well. So, but the teens have their great programs too that are theirs, where they can find that significant other in their community. And so we're very proud, as a conclusion of this program, the 6-part series, to say that we've grown the gamut and shown you what we offer, and really it's just the tip of the iceberg. There's lots more too. So please come and join us, come read with us, come play with us, and have fun. So thank you again. Happy reading.